How we doing, YouTubers? My name is Eric Gustin, and I have a treat for all the DIY electronic drum conversion guys out there, guys and gals. What I have here is the absolute best acoustic brass triggered cymbal that's dual zone, as in bow and edge and choke. This is a combination of several different people's takes on cymbals, such as Surge with their or Alesis rather, with their Surge cymbals, which are really smart trigger cymbals, the same as Heart cymbals, and Roland cymbals, and a lot of different people online, like Racer52 online, I think, was the guy I saw who kind of gave me a little snippet of advice. Not personally, but I picked up a couple things from him, and I picked up things from other people, and I ended up making what I believe to be is the most stealthy looking, most functional, and most badass looking cymbal for a brass, or really bronze. People say brass, but it's really bronze. Triggered cymbal. What I have here, now this cymbal particularly, I sanded down all the grooves because I didn't know how to refinish a cymbal at the time. This was a used cymbal. I didn't want to buy a brand new one. So I used a used cymbal, and it was all patinaed, and I wanted it fresh and new looking. I tried every chemical known to man, could not get that protective coating off the cymbal, so I ended up hooking a nut and a bolt to my grinder and put sandpaper to it as it went around, and took most of the grooves off. They're still kind of there, but not really. But no big deal. First run. Now I know toilet bowl cleaner. That is the #1 way to get that protective coating off. It will eat away everything. Wear gloves. Be very careful with it. Do it in your bathtub. Put some on. Get a wire, not a wire brush, but like a bristle brush that you would clean a carpet with, maybe in your car or something like that. Just something semi-rigid, but just bristle brush, not wire brush, and not steel wool. Use that and work it around, and you'll see it just eat it right off. It's all gone. Your logos go as well, but logos don't make any sound as far as I know, and fuck them. Make your own logo, or buy a logo replacement kit or something, whatever. In any case, that is how you properly, and then hit it with 3 or 4 coats of Canuba car wax to keep the oxidization at bay as best as you can, and then just regular cymbal polish will do the trick. So here is my cymbal, and here is the bread and butter. This is without a doubt the most stealthy cymbal and most functional cymbal. What I have here is down on the bottom is my choke strip. That is made out of another cymbal. So unfortunately, in order to make 2 cymbals, I have to sacrifice another cymbal by cutting that piece out. What I use underneath that, and I'm giving this info away for nothing. I'm not trying to patent these and sell them and this and that. What I'm trying to do is just throw out any bit of education that I can. If you can see in between of those 2, let's get it as close as we can there. There's about an 1/8 inch gap in between the cymbal and that extra piece of the cymbal. The 1/8 inch gap is created by 3M's double-sided super adhesive tape. It's a foam tape that's about an 1/8 inch thick. And what I do is I cut this piece and I mark it out accordingly to where I want to put it, just with a pen. Before I do any of that though, on here, this is a crystal clear vinyl dampening layer. You can see right here the color is slightly different because it's not in there. This is a product that I think is 3M or Scotchgard or both or something. They make it, it's called Rock Guard or Chip Guard. It's for automotive applications. People use it for a bra in the front of their car. It's a clear bra to keep rocks from chipping through your paint and making rusting spots and whatnot. This stuff works fantastic. There goes my ashes. It definitely deadens the sound. But what deadens it even more, there's still a slight resonance when you tap on it when you put that stuff on. But once you put this metal strip on, it's dead. You don't hear anything. I mean, there's virtually nothing there. Now, the trigger box is a very, very small trigger box that I found on eBay, some Chinese seller or whatever. You can find all kinds of them on there, very small trigger boxes. You just need to make sure you have enough room to put in a stereo jack into it. Get the barrel stereo jacks. That's the best way to go. So you don't have wires getting pinched, as you plug it in or whatnot. Now, in any case, put that protective layer on. It's a process to do it. There's a couple videos on YouTube on how to install that stuff properly. Just go ahead and research that. But once you put it on, you'll want to cut. I can give you a basic idea here. Here's a cymbal that I have put. This is an old Sabian B8. I put the protective layer on, and then I cut out a section. And if you cut out a section, you can peel it right off. But other than that, it ain't coming off unless you hit it with a heat gun or something like that. It's super flexible stuff. It will never crack, peel, or anything. It's badass. It can take any amount of abuse because, trust me, I've given them some abuse. In any case, you cut that little spot out for your contact spot, and then you take that 3M tape and you cut it to fit in pieces all the way through here, and just leave that spot out. And so basically, you're fully. It's hard to get my bearing straight here. You're fully taped in this section here and this section here. Down here, you've got just a half inch on the bottom where the contact is. Now you lay all the tape down. Then you take your wire coming from your box down and lay it on the tape. Just spool it around right in here. And it's only going to be like 3 to 4 strands, individual strands of copper wire. So unsheathe some old guitar wiring or something, and or some piezo wire, and just take 3 or 4 strands of it and run them next to each other. I did not do that on this one. I wound them up, but it makes it tall and very thick. And this, we'll get to the tape in a minute. That's got to be replaced by a better product. So anyway, you run and spool the wire around here, just individual strands, and then when you put the cymbal on top of it, it connects to this piece and is permanently embedded in there. And now whenever you hit the edge, you get the edge sound, and it's very dynamic. There is the Roland has the same. I wire it the Roland way, not the Alesis way, and we'll get into that in a moment. The Roland way of wiring is way better, but we'll get to that. In any case, you hit the edge, and it's very dynamic. Like, you don't have to whack it. Like, if you ever played those Roland rubber cymbals, you really got to crack that edge to get the edge sound. And same with the surge cymbals. You really got to whack it to make that strip that they have underneath there activate. And this one is just a regular normal hit. You hit that edge, it's going to activate this, and it also activates this to give you the dynamic of how hard you hit it. So basically, this activates the edge sound when you hit it, but it uses this closing for a second and that being activated at the same time. There's your edge sound, and here's the dynamic range of the sound. It works fantastically. Now, and also in a subsequent grab on the same switch, and you don't have to squeeze it like you got to squeeze the Rolands. You just a normal cymbal grab, and it'll completely cut it out. So let's get into the tape. This was just some shitty $2 eBay gold tape I found on eBay. It's absolutely horrible. It's all peeling up, and you know it stays on there, but it's just peeling up around the corners. You can see where it ripples around the edge where I have to turn it to make the profile. It's just very low quality. I just said I couldn't find anything else. Well, I did find something now. I found a product from alsacorp.com. They make tons of different things, spray paints and whatnot. One of the things they make is a thing called FX sheeting. And FX sheeting is basically like countertop material, but it's real metal. And it's like metal veneer. And they have chrome, they have stainless steel, and they also have brass and copper. I can't remember which one seemed to fit the color of a cymbal more, if it was brass or copper. I think it was the copper one. But regardless, whichever one it is, you'll be able to tell when you look at it. I would recommend taking a 2 foot by 2 foot sheet of that stuff is about $50, somewhere in that ballpark. You'd be able to make a piece like this that's cut out of that sheet to fit that profile, like cut it out in a question mark kind of shape, and it would just slap right on, no wrinkles, no nothing. And if you have your individual strands of copper wire, you won't see this ridge built up in the center. So it's a really good and the adhesive on that stuff, you ain't getting it off, unless you absolutely are forced to try to get it off. So that's a really good product. So far, I haven't tested it yet, but I know it's going to be a million times better than this $2 tape that I've got. So that's the only thing I'm going to change. In here, obviously, is a stereo barrel jack. Very tiny box. You can get them on eBay. As I said, you know, cheap Chinese manufacturers. You can buy 5 of them for like $10 or something. As far as the wiring, please steer clear of the Alesis wiring. It's absolutely horrible. It does not. It's not functional. I mean, it works, but it's not dynamic like the Roland's is, and it's a simple wiring issue. Roland, as I said before, when you hit the edge, it activates both triggers. It activates this edge sound, and the trigger up top gives you the dynamic range of that sound. The Alesis does not do that. The Alesis, you get a dynamic range on the bow sound because that is a dynamic piezo, but you do not get a dynamic range on the edge sound. If you can manage to get the edge sound at all, it's a nightmare. And the choke functionality is very spotty. But in any case, it's just a horrible setup that they have. I actually bought an Alesis Trigger IO, and after a week of fucking with it, and then finally reading that they don't have it wired up properly to do it like the Roland's does, I realized that it was a complete and utter piece of garbage. I immediately put it back on eBay. Lost 20, 30 bucks, but whatever. It's worth getting rid of it because it was just a nightmare. So now I've wired them all the Roland way, and eventually down the line here, I've done some research. I actually sold my Roland TD12 to finance my whole conversion, figuring I'd use the Alesis Trigger IO. It was only 80 bucks, but that doesn't work. So I'm going to be getting a Roland TD6. Is the best one that I've found as far as just using it as a MIDI hub, because I use software-based programs. So I use software-based programs like Easy Drummer and Superior Drummer. So I don't need the actual sounds of the brain. So it can be a shitty brain as long as it's got the right wiring and the right software. And the Roland TD6 does, and it has all the right inputs. It has stereo inputs on it has individual inputs for like Tom 1, Tom 2, Tom 3, which are stereo inputs. And as anybody knows, if you're running toms through them, you're not going to really need rim shots. So you can run a splitter cable out of those and get 3 or 4 more inputs for maybe some, I don't know, some rototoms or something, or whatever you want to put in there, and an extra, like a splash cymbal with no choke or something. So anyway, that is my cymbals. As I said, my name is Eric Gustin. Here is my hi-hat. I have put my logo on there since I lose. It's so hard to get my bearings on here. Since I lose all I did here was once I cleaned the cymbal, hit it with a coat of wax, then I just drew on my Gustin logo with permanent marker, 2 coats of that, and then hit it with another 3 or 4 coats of Canuba. Under here, this one here will not need a choke strip because the other cymbal will function as that, or just the closed. You will have to do a hi-hat control pedal. There is a company that makes a very good one, but I'm going to make one myself because I know how it works. I just had to do all kinds of digging in and seeing what's going to work for me. And I think I've come up with a pretty good plan on how to make one with some PCB boxes or PCB boards rather, and ABS boxes and springs and whatnot. So in any case, that is my cymbal. I hope you guys like. And this is, in my opinion, and I've played them all. I've played the Roland rubber cymbals. I've played the Smart Trigger through Alesis and Hart. They all have all kinds of faults, especially one of the faults that the Smart Trigger cymbals have is that they have their trigger in their box down here, and that is right where the strike zone is. And if you've played electric drums at all and you've ever hit directly on where a piezo is, it is a crazy spike in volume. If my finger is the piezo, and it's the little, whatever it is, if it's a piezo, if it's a drum, it's a cone, if you tap on that cone tip or the piezo right where it is going to be a sharp, loud cymbal sound. Way more loud, like 2-3 times as loud as anywhere else on it. Everywhere else is completely dynamic. It's loud here, it gets softer as you go back. But right there is a nightmare. You do not want that happening. And it will happen from time to time. It's hard to intentionally hit it, but every once in a while you will, and it'll be fucking loud as hell. So that's why I chose to wrap up around here, put the box up here, because I don't really know of too many people that have a cymbal like this and they play it. They don't usually play up here. So, incidentally, the other thing is too, one of the great things about using a piece of a cymbal down here as your contact for your edge and your choke is that it adds weight. And one of the problems with e-cymbals or brass or even rubber ones is that you have to hook a cord to this. So eventually, sometimes after you play your cymbals, they tend to spin and they just kind of move around and they go their own route. Well, with this one, it doesn't do that because it's weighted on one side. Right where that strip is, it adds the correct amount of weight to have it always at a nice tilted angle right towards you, and it's not overly tilted. It's perfect. I mean, it's really the best design, and this is not me saying like I'm a genius, but I did do a lot of research. A lot of people had other inputs that have figured out things that I didn't know, and I figured out other things that other people didn't know or didn't think of. So all I've really done, I haven't invented anything. I'm not trying to patent them. I'm not trying to sell them. I'm just trying to give the information out to everybody who wants to make these and have a good quality product that's going to be very functional and very stealthy and look badass. The only thing left to do is maybe I might go a little bit cheesy and paint this gold. The box is the only thing that's black on it, so why not? Maybe even wrap it in some of that FX sheeting. Yeah, this is the most dynamic for sure. I know it's the best one out there. I hope you guys can make your own. The most difficult part about the entire process is putting on this clear dampening layer, and it's quite expensive. You got to get a decent amount, and you have to get 2-foot rolls. You don't want to put seams in it. Get a 2-foot roll so that you can cover a 20-inch cymbal without a problem. If there's any questions, guys, just post some comments if you like. Whatever you do, don't buy these ASL cymbals. I'm sure they're great guys, and they just didn't know this. My advice to the ASL guys is start doing this and sell your cymbals. I'm not looking to undercut you or get people to buy my cymbals. I'm just trying to put something better into the drumming community. And I'm not even really a drummer. I just dabble. I'm a vocalist and guitarist who happens to play some drums. But this stuff really interests me, and I really took a liking to it, and I hope my information can help you guys out, and maybe we can get Alesis and Smart Trigger to get on board with doing them this way. It's much better than theirs. All right. Well, thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next time.